There's a lot of bullshit going around about self-love, and I think it's time for us to finally address it.
You may not know right where you're going, but I do. And all the time you wasn't chosen, well, I'll make it up to you.
Hi guys, if this is your first time ever clicking on one of my videos, my name is Jailyn, also known as Jay, and today we're going to be talking about the truth about self-love, something that I think nobody really understands because I rarely see people talking about this. And I feel like if we're going to be honest, let's be honest, because being Delulu is not always the Salulu, contrary to popular belief. So let's go ahead and get into the topic. So one thing that I constantly see on social media is the emergence of self-love, self-care content, and a lot of times it is filled with a lot of luxurious experiences, spa days, facials. In some ways, it almost feels as like it's just a beauty thing, getting your hair done, getting your nails done. Damn, my earring just fell out. Getting your hair done, getting your nails done, all that different type of stuff. And while those things are all great things, I'll be the first girl that loves to soak in a nice bath with some cucumbers over my eyelids. I have come to realize the deeper I get into my 20s and the deeper I get into self-exploration that these things really are not self-love. They're awesome ways to spend some quality time with yourself, which I think is an aspect of self-love. But I really feel like the true value of what self-love is often overlooked. And my theory is it's not only because self-love is misunderstood, but love in and of itself is misunderstood. So when you think about love and you think about the people who are supposed to love you the most in this world, it's supposed to be who? If you guess your boyfriend or your partner, the answer is no. The first people who love us on the planet are our parents. But a lot of times, we have complex relationships with our parents. Some of us, if you were raised in a very healthy, family dynamic, then you may not struggle with your self-love. But those of us who constantly look for ways to implement more self-love and look for ways to, improve our lives by treating ourselves with more kindness and grace, oftentimes it's because we did not get that kindness and grace growing up. Now, because of this, oftentimes I think that the relationship with our parents is not at the forefront of our mind when we think about love. And the reason that I feel like this is so important for us to bring to the conversation of self-love is because I feel like true self-love is learning how to parent yourself. If you have never heard of the expression of parenting yourself, let me give you some examples of what this may mean. Let's say that you have a very bad habit of staying up very late at night, even though you have to wake up early, and it tends to lead you to a cycle of bad decisions. So maybe you wake up very late at the last minute, very anxious from the very beginning of your day. You don't have time to pour into yourself. You don't have time to eat a healthy meal. So you end up making a slew of bad decisions that could have been avoided if you just went to bed earlier. Now, if you had good parents while you was growing up, then your parents probably made you go to sleep or gave you a bedtime so that you would not wake up in the morning feeling tired, feeling drained, and ultimately leading to more bad decisions. So this is what I mean about parenting ourselves. When we get to adulthood, we don't always have people that can do this for us. We are the sole responsibility of ourselves. And a lot of times, if we did not come from strong, stable family dynamics, it can be a little bit rebellious for us to do the things we know we should do because we're not considering those things as self-love. The authority of even feeling like you have to do something, like sometimes some of us are really just repellent to that in general. And I feel like this is a terrible, terrible thing because if we don't take care of ourselves, if we don't set boundaries, guidelines, and discipline with ourselves, then there's no way that we're going to be able to set those things with other people. Like, even when it comes to building self-confidence, one of the best ways to build self-confidence, in my opinion, is to do what you said you're going to do. And the more that you do the things you say you're going to do, the more you start to build a bond with yourself, a trust with yourself, knowing that when you put your mind to something, when you put your word to something, you're going to do it. I feel like all of this comes in the bracket of self-parenting. And until you can learn to self-parent, until you can learn to have radical accountability with yourself, until you can look in the mirror and say, this is what I want and this is how I'm going to go get it, and then force yourself to do it, self-love will always be out of your grasp. And that's just the truth about it. Self-love is not always rose petals in the bathtub. Yes, those things may make us feel good, but I feel like we pursue self-love in the same way that we pursue romantic relationships nowadays, where everything is just extremely romanticized. Everything is meant to always be pleasant and joyful, and true self-love is not always pleasant and joyful. Sometimes self-love is painful because it requires us to come face to face with our truths, and all truths about ourselves are not always pleasant, and they're not always, beautiful things. They can turn into beautiful things if we choose to address them and if we choose to work through them. But if we just completely avoid all of the negative things in our life, all of our negative attributes, and we just don't choose to do better and choose to parent ourselves, then we're never going to have true self-love. We're just going to have self-adorning activities that we do to calm us from the anxiety of not really dealing with our true patterns and traumas and ways that affect our daily lives. Parenting yourself is the solution to getting your life under control. I know this because this is something that I'm actively struggling with. For example, like I have had to be firm with myself about not going to bed without having a completely clean home. But I will say that once I started doing this with myself and telling myself, listen, this is something that I said I'm going to do and I have to do it because I said I'm going to do it, I have felt so much better waking up in the morning and feeling much more productive in my daily life. There are things that we know that we need to do, but for some reason we run and we rebel and we don't do the things that we know would make our lives better. And how can we avoid those things and then still claim that we love ourselves? How can we avoid doing things that we know will make us better and still claim that we love ourselves, especially when those activities are something that are within our grasp? It's just a matter of choice. It's just a matter of saying, this is who I am, this is what I want to do, and I'm going to do it. So when you guys talk about self-love, or when you want to find new things to incorporate into your self-love journey, yes, I will be the first girly to tell you that doing a detox mud face mask and adding some cucumbers under your eyelids is a vibe, a big vibe. But don't forget to do the hard work too. Don't forget to ask yourself, what could I be doing better? Don't forget to ask yourself, where could I put my foot down with myself in my life to give myself the best possible life that I deserve, even if it means doing the hard things. I hope this video was helpful for you guys. Remember, in order to live your life to its fullest, you must live fearlessly. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in my next video. Peace.
Yeah, I'm too raw to be tripping over niggas. Pretty with the figure, I ain't stopping till I make a couple figures over for. Couple hoes, I see them, then it's over for 'em.